What's up, everyone? What's up? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I go by Zombie. I'm very passionate about spirituality, specifically astrology. And one of my main goals with this channel is just to be able to show people how self-improvement and spirituality really do go hand in hand. And so I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. If you click on it, it'll take you to a site wherein you can enter your own birth information, and it'll create a chart for you. So you can kind of, try to dig into yourself a little bit deeper, in your own time, but, start your own little journey of self-discovery. But so far as this series is concerned, I've just been going through the houses in astrology, and this video is about the 10th house. So in astrology, the 10th house is known as the house of social status or reputation, right? So the 10th house shows shows your approach towards goals, achievements, and success. It's a place, it's basically the status you've achieved right within your social group, or society as a whole, in the form of a career, or just your reputation, your reputation, right, in the sense that it's just might be something you're known for, or a way it might not even be like a skill, it may not even be like a skill or anything that you do, right? It could just be like your disposition, right, the way you carry yourself, right, type of thing. But and at the same time, those usually do go hand in hand. I just want to say that, like, sign wise, for example, let's say you had Capricorn in the 10th house, right? Reputation wise, you might be known as somebody that works hard, but at the same time, like, you are somebody that works hard. So it's like, excuse me, it goes hand in hand. But yeah, any planets you have in the in the 10th house will kind of show you the parts of your personality that are focused into that area of your life, so far as achieving your goals, career, where you want to be in life, type of thing. So just to give a quick example, planet wise, let's say you have Venus in the 10th house, right? Venus, as we know, is related to love, beauty, art, aesthetics, balance, harmony, justice, that type of thing, peace. So with it being in the house of career, long-term goals, achievements, that type of thing, you could be someone that is known as a very diplomatic person, right? A very peaceful, very unbiased person. You could be known as a very creative, artistic person, Venus in the 10th house, your purpose in life could very much so have a lot to do with art, and expressing yourself for a cause greater than yourself. Let's say you had the sun in the 10th house, right? The sun is basically your self-identity, your ego, how you see yourself. So having the sun in your house of like career, long-term, blah, 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 it's similar to Capricorn energy, right? In the sense that Capricorns are naturally overachievers, kind of like they like to set goals, and they like to meet their goals, right? And they do like to work hard, right? They find, solace in that, right? It helps to boost their morale, right? So, if you have the sun here, similar, even if your sun is like, Aries or something like that, even if your sun is Aries, having it in the 10th house will give you kind of like a Capricorn edge, if that makes sense. So it's like the Aries energy, right, that you naturally, exude, right, like who you are, right, as an Aries person. All of that is kind of focused into the 10th house, right, with your sun being in Aries. And so to try to give you more clarity on that, if I was an Aries, right, even though I'm somebody that generally can be can be impulsive, right, even though I'm someone that is mostly assertive, right, even though it can come off as aggression, right, even though I am someone that is driven, if that were somewhere else, right, like the 8th house, like that energy, all that energy would be focused into 8th house, matters. You get what I'm saying? But because it's in the 10th house, it's focused in the 10th house, matters, which actually would be, actually is a pretty good placement, I would say, if you do have Aries in the 10th house, because again, Aries is, that independent pioneering energy, and having it in the house of, success and long-term goals and achievements and things of that nature, it could be very beneficial, for you in your life. I'm trying to think if there's someone I know, because I feel like I looked at somebody's chart recently and they had that placement, honestly. It's like a YouTuber. Basically, he's pretty big on YouTube. I can't really think of his name right. I'm pretty sure it might be Tom. It might be Tom Billieu. I was looking at like his chart and some other people's charts the other day, and I'm pretty sure he's in Aries and it's in the 10th house. And he talks a lot about his competitive nature, his competitive spirit. And so, it makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, especially if you look at how successful he is, now. But moving right along to the correlation, but like I said before, you have your career, you have your reputation, right? You have your authority. Well, you have authority, and authority in the sense like it could be the government, because at the same time, 10th house is ruled by Saturn, and again the sign Capricorn, and Saturn is also associated with the government and authority, in a sense that outside of you, but at the same time, well, outside in like a societal sense, but at the same time, um, authority can be seen from a very young, from a younger age, right? Is what I'm trying to say. If you think about your parents, right, those are kind of like the first authoritarian like figures in your life, more so your father, and Saturn, the energy of Saturn is also, related to the father. Likewise, the moon, opposite is Saturn, or opposite Capricorn, with the sign Cancer, is related to the mother, right? Very nurturing energy. Saturn is related to the father, right? Very disciplined, very, practical, very, cut and dry type of energy, but it's for the better. Saturn in astrology, it can sometimes be seen as like a malefic planet, something that's not too beneficial for you. But again, in life, it's all perspective, right? Your Saturn placement will show you, where you'll be faced with challenges, right? Like if you had Saturn in a sign like Taurus, like earth signs especially, I would say, because Saturn rules the earth sign, being Capricorn. So I feel like with Saturn being in earth signs, it might be a little bit more obvious or noticeable, like Saturn in Taurus, right? Having, because the earth signs, excuse me, before I get to Saturn in Taurus, as an example of this whole malefic concept and why it's not really like that, in my opinion. um the earth signs have a lot to do with the physical, the tangible things, especially money and managing money, and again, like your career and striving towards that, and staying disciplined, right, and consistent in your approach. So although it can be seen as a bad thing that Saturn places a lot of obstacles and challenges in your way, at the end of the day, it's going to make you a stronger person when you figure out, what it is you need to do to overcome this. So going back to the Taurus example, Saturn and Taurus people, usually they grow up in they usually grow up in how do I put this? Financially unstable environments, right? You might have grown up in your family just might not have had it like that, right? Sometimes Saturn and Taurus could even, point to homelessness at a young age, because Taurus is, so focused on, finance and literally money. Like money itself is associated with the second house and Taurus energy, like literally. And that's another conversation, but for the sake of explaining this, yeah, so Saturn has a lot to do with authority, a lot to do with discipline, limitations, rules, things of that nature, challenges and obstacles to a degree. But like with the Saturn and Taurus example, although it may have been harder for you growing up, or harder, with Saturn being anywhere, touching anything in your chart over time, because Saturn is also heavily associated with time and maturity and maturing over time, right? So, which is very important when you think about Saturn energy and Capricorn energy and Aquarius as well, because Saturn rules Aquarius. Like, it definitely mature and and perfect this shit over time. So, um, yeah, just to stay, just to not get too far off point. Most definitely has a lot to do with authority, but it's a good thing, right? Rules are in place for a reason, right? Like I was saying in the previous video with the Sag energy, Sag, while they can be very intuitive and, very passionate, they can also be chaotic and all over the place sometimes. So they really have to learn to, find discipline and, you know, channel that passion into whatever it is that they really want to do, and to do that consistently, right? And to keep that goal in mind, and not be too all over the place, right? So once you do that, again, like I was saying in the previous video, that's when you kind of evolve spiritually into more of like a Capricorn energy type of thing, right? And you understand the value of discipline and hard work, and staying consistent, pushing towards your goals, and so on and so forth, right? So yeah, that was basically all I have for the 10th house. Next video, of course, we're going to be doing the 11th house. And yeah, I'm out. Peace. Go ahead, like I said before, subscribe if you did not fucking subscribe, and hit that like and leave a comment for me. I'm out.